Tatpadapadanestu Matista Krishne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna.
Jai Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Here you are loud and clear, and
okay.
All seems to be well, Maharaj.
All right, very good. Maybe not all as well, but
when we hear Nityananda Das Prabhu's voice, then it is very auspicious for us too. Just to remember his name is auspicious.
Yes. We should say Nityananda Das is doing the Russian translation, Sulakshana Didi, the Chinese, and is it Praneshri Didi who's doing Espanol?
Yes, Maharaj.
Enakshi Didi is doing Polski. Rasa Sundari doing Magyar, Hungarian. What else do we have?
Rasamoi Pandita doing Dutch.
She's doing Dutch. Madhusudan Maharaj is translating into British English.
Yes, Maharaj.
That's when I used to go to Bhaktivedanta Manor and give lectures there, because I was always in Eastern Europe and varieties of languages. So right before I would speak, and it's in, for those who know, that's the flagship center in England. And I would always say before I start to speak, and who will translate? Hare Krishna. You may have spent a few moments there, and Devashish Prabhu. Now we cannot hear Madhusudan Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj, I did stay there for some time, and it was transformational by staying in Bhaktivedanta Mana. Yes, Maharaj.
For sure. On Krishna Janmastami, and that was 25 years ago, 50,000 people would come. But now I think it's much more than that. Let's think about it.
All right, we appear to be all set up, Maharaj. So first of all, can we indeed give honor to our dear Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, who is actually taking us on Parikrama. He's leading us philosophically and in all ways on Parikrama. And we are all here to serve by hearing and by whatever way we can. So Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj, Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakat Dev Goswami Maharaj, Jai Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Om Vishnupad, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, the Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, Rup Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopal, Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Shyamakund Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Nabadwip Dham Ki Jai, Sri Nabadwip Dham Mahatmyam Ki Jai, Sri Nabadwip Dham Bhavataranga Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Ki Jai, Sri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai, Sri Bila Govinda Ki Jai, Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Om Vishnupad, Vispravarena, Sri Lasi, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Madhacharya Brinda Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Bhimala Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai, Sannyasi Brinda Ki Jai, Seva Brinda Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande. So Maharaj, where we need your mic is off. Where are we and where are we going?
Well, we came back to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat because we could. And then from Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, then now we will give our obeisances in front of the Samadhi Mandirs and the deities and loop around in front of Acharya Bhavan and also in front of Srila Guru Maharaj's Bhajan Kutir. And then we'll head out now to continue our journey. And yesterday we were essentially in the southern part of Koladip. Then we are going to Ritudwip, to Janodip, and the very last part of our Parikrama today, ending up, the last place we will visit will be Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's appearance place in Mamgachi. So,
and
Maharaj,
also because of our miking situation, I also want to say Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Ji Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Jai Saparikar Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Ji Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Guru Maharaj says, deities at the Mool Mat, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and Nabadwip.
And a beautiful picture of them there too, with a classic peacock kind of arrangement in the background, but it's not peacocks, is it? It's trees, but looking like peacock tails with the trees and the banana trees. All right, so let us begin. And Maharaj, if the devotees are ready, then we could maybe just have Panchatattva and Maha Mantra to start us on our way. And we're heading now through to Ritudwip, which is through the rice fields, and then we'll hear something about the pastimes there when we reach there.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Why does this happen? But did he mute himself?
Govinda, no, I'm here, Maharaj, excuse me.
I think you just have to leave your mic on and we'll do the muting or unmuting from here, right?
Okay, we're good, Maharaj, but there's some sound in the background. Okay, we're good. So, Maharaj, I saw that clip just now of the rice fields and going through the rice fields. And really, that is the journey that's going to Ritudwip, is actually going through those rice fields. And it just feels like an ocean of rice. It feels auspicious. And this is the bread basket for Northeast India. East side of India is Bengal. It's the bread basket for this area. So we've come to Ritudwip, and I am actually a little unclear the borders between Ritudwip, Janodip, and Madhusudan. And we are basically passing through different places where we hear about how the Vedas, they took their shelter with Matsya avatar rescuing the Vedas, and during the inundation, then he's coming to Ritudwip and to Vidyanagar. And in Vidyanagar, then the all branches of the Vedic teachings are represented there in Vidyanagar, and so many pastimes to do with like knowledge. It's told that Valmiki, he received the Ramayana there in this area, and we know that everywhere in all the other holy places that are included within Nabadwip Dham. And this way, there are many pastimes in this regard. For instance, Brihaspati also, that he left from Indraloka and came here to engage in the worship of Mahaprabhu when he heard about the future advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu revealed to himself to him and said, later on, you will take your birth in my pastimes when I come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you take your birth as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Various wonderful pastimes like this that took place in Vidyanagar, the place of like great learning. And so this area we are coming through, and Ritudwip brings us then to Janudwip, and then the pastimes of Janu Muni and King Bhagirath, who was bringing the Ganges to the Earth planet, down through the various planetary systems, in order to rescue his forefathers. And when the Ganges was descending and coming along, then King Bhagirath is following in front as the Ganges is coming, but then he's going along, and then he looks back and the Ganges is not coming any longer, and he thinks, where's it gone? He goes back, and then he finds the Ganga has stopped in Nabadwip Dham, and then the Ganga has stopped there, and it is Janu Muni. He's drunk the Ganges while he's peacefully in meditation. Then the Ganges came down, and he thought, oh, this is a little bit disturbing my meditation. So he drank the Ganges, and then anyhow, after many prayers, he released the Ganges. And this way, this area is famous as Janudwip, I believe, got its name from Janu Muni. And he was Janu Muni was a great Muni, and Bhishma came and had his darshan here in Nabadwip Dham Mahatmya. It is mentioned such things. And to Modadrumadip, which is very famous for us, it is in the sense of it is the appearance place of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, and the writer of the Chaitanya Bhagavata, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata, and he appeared here. You mentioned, Maharaj, about how his mother Narayani had been blessed by Mahaprabhu on different occasions to receive his Mahaprasad, the Mahaprasad, direct remnants from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And then presently, when the young girl grew up, then she was the mother of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, who wrote Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. And in fact, whether he wrote all of it or not, but he wrote a substantial part very close to Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj's appearance place in Raradesh at the village called Denur. And we go to Denur when we go on pilgrimage to Gurudev's appearance place, Bamunpara. And then we often get the opportunity to go on pilgrimage also to Denur, and where Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote the Chaitanya Bhagavata. And this is, and there are other places here. The house of Vasudev Datta, and there are various things which I would need to probably look a little bit more, but some ancient places which feel very ancient, and I don't know if they were destroyed at the time when the Ganges flooded that area, but out of the whole of Nabadwip Dham Parikrama, the temples that we visit at the very end of the of the Parikrama today, just before actually, or just nearby to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's appearance place, the temples there feel very old. They're stone, they're made of stone. And whether they have survived from the time of Mahaprabhu or not, I do not know. And Maharaj, I brought you here. Would you like to share something from this part?
Well, we call Srila Guru Maharaj revealing what you told about Brihaspati, who is the descending from Indraloka, the guru of the gods, basically his position, the guru of the Devata. And appearing in Chaitanya lila as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the relative of Vidyanagar from Vidyanagar. And we told about Mahaprabhu at Remuna with Kirchor Gopinath, that on his way, after taking sannyas with Nityananda and the others going to Jagannath Puri. And one thing I failed to mention was that after all, the Mahaprabhu telling the story of Gopal and Madhavendra Puri and the supreme sloka of Rasa Kavya, and saying, is there anyone more fortunate than Madhavendra Puri, and Nityananda Prabhu agreeing, then the pujari brings the 12 pots of kheer and offers them to Mahaprabhu and his devotees. And Mahaprabhu takes 7 or 5, pushes 5 back, I think. Takes 7 and pushes 5 back. And he's very eager to taste that kheer. And we could think, but is Gopinath not, Krishna? Like Gopal saying Gopinath and I, same. So then didn't he already take? Why is he's so eager to taste this Amrita Keli kheer? Right? Because Swabhaktebhya Sudham Nijabhajana Mudram Upadisham Guru Rupa Harim Gauram Radha Ruchi Vrichavritam. He's descended as Krishna, but he's come as enveloped in the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani as a devotee. So Gopinath does not eat prasad. Bhog is offered to Gopinath. And then there's a whole section in the Antya Lila of Charitamrita, Krishna Adharamratam. I mean, the nectar from the lips of Krishna. That's the secret ingredient of prasadam. Right? That's the secret ingredient. Because Krishna's saying, the nectar from the lips of Krishna is in the prasadam. So anyone with a heart and capacity will appreciate that. So Krishna is offered the bhog, it comes in contact with Krishna and is transformed, we can say, into prasadam. And as we hear in the song of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, what does it say? Yasomati agyapeye danishta anito, Sri Radha hoye bunje hoye prito. Right? I like that. That on the order of Yashoda, after Krishna is taken, then she tells Danishta, give these to Radharani, the remnants of Krishna. And Radharani is waiting with her sakis, and they're all happily, ecstatically relishing Sri Krishna prasada, Radha hoye, bunje hoye prito. They're relishing that. So, so if Gauranga Mahaprabhu is, what is the problem? Oh. Okay. So, Krishna, as Krishna, he is taking the bhog, it's being transformed into prasad. But Mahaprabhu, Radha Baba Duty Subolita, is Krishna in the position of a devotee. So devotees can relish prasadam. So Mahaprabhu is so eager to get the cure of Gopinath, because now he can taste that, what a devotee tastes. That is the point. Right? Sri Radha Krishna Pranaya, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kiddusho Vanayeva, Svadyo Yenadbhuta Madhurima Kiddusho. That Ashwad, to taste what she tastes. That is what Krishna, as Mahaprabhu, wants. So, from there, they continue on, and we're told, when Jagannath temple is coming into view, and the Jagannath Chakra, Mahaprabhu, his eagerness is so great that he runs ahead of the devotees. He's madly running, like Guru Maharaj told, the search for Sri Krishna, reality, the beautiful. In the beginning, we heard the Vedanta say, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now that you've acquired the human form of life, you should engage in spiritual inquiry, Brahma Jigyasa. Right? But so, and we're trained with that and happily embracing that and extending that. And then we come to the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj. And he's saying, Brahma Jigyasa? That is a dry thing. Right? He's saying, what shall we do? Krishnanusandhan. Right? We should engage in the search for Sri Krishna, for rasa. This generic spirit, that is a dry thing. We should search for rasa, search for Sri Krishna, who is rasa personified. Right? That's what he said. Search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. Krishnanusandhan means the search for Sri Krishna. So Mahaprabhu is running madly in the search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. And that leads him to Jagannath Puri and to have Jagannath Darshan. And sometimes Srila Guru Maharaj would say to us, when we see Jagannath, he said, what do we see? An awkward figure. Like that. Hare Krishna. Right? He's saying, and what does Mahaprabhu see when he sees Jagannath? Yang Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam. The inconceivably beautiful form of Shama Sundar Krishna. And the anguish of separation in his heart is intolerable, and he's running, he wants to embrace Shama Sundar Krishna. It's Jagannath, but Shama Sundar Krishna. And he faints before Jagannath, and his fainting means losing consciousness of the external world, so deeply penetrated into the inner world, the internal world. And what is called Asta Sattvika Bikar, 8 types of ecstatic transformation that are only experienced by Srimati Radharani, and to the infinite degree, right? Adhyarudha Bhav, these waves of ecstatic symptoms are playing upon his divine form, putting him in a fainted position. The 10th stage of separation is described as death. So that's the stage 1, 2, 3, and the 9th stage. The next stage is death. So we're told the devotees, they're in a death-like trance, but they don't die because that would make Krishna unhappy. But they want to die. They can't live another moment in separation from Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also said, I can't tolerate being separated from Krishna anymore. I will leave the world in 2 to 4 days. It's unbearable and intolerable for me. So separation is the subject matter. Plunging the depths of separation, the sort of prem that is yield from the heart yields in the depths of separation. Bahye Visarjalahoy, Bitore Anandamoy, Krishna Premer Adbhuta Charit. Kaviraj Goswami says, this is the wonderful, astonishing characteristic of Krishna Prem as expressed in Gaura-lila, plunging the depths of separation, that although externally it appears as though one has been hemorrhaging from cobra venom, experiencing the effects of cobra venom. Right? Sometimes the sarp viraha, it's compared to the snake of separation, the snake bite of separation. Right? That's how they appear externally, and internally, Guru Maharaj says, relishing some peculiar nectarine substance. So Srila Gurudev would say, if you want to understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, examine his tasting matter. What is the tasting matter of Mahaprabhu? It is separation at its zenith point. Pidabhir navakalakuta katuta garbhasya nirvasyano. So this is the Gurudev would quote this poetry of Srila Rupa Goswami, which is similar. It said it's like suffering the effects of cobra venom while being bathed in a nectarine shower. These two very contradictory things going on simultaneously. As Govinda, we say Govinda every day, Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajamim. He's the supreme enjoyer, right? The Adi Purush, Lakshmi Sahasa Shata Sambrahma Sevyamanam, with thousands, millions, billions, trillions of Brajagop, he's enjoying. He knows everything about enjoyment. He did not descend as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to experience that sort of enjoyment. That is his position as Krishna. So, we're talking about Vrindavan Das Thakur as well. In the beginning of the Chaitanya Bhagavata, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, very beautiful introductory sloka. Everything is there. If you just read those introductory slokas. And one of the things that he's saying how, what's the word? Disastrous it is to try and impose the rasa Krishna, lila rasa aspect of Krishna upon Mahaprabhu, as is the deviation of the Sahajiya is known as the Gauranga Nagaris. To try and put, Mahaprabhu has no such pastimes, not even Vishnu Priya, Lakshmi Priya, there are no such pastimes in Chaitanya Lila. He is plunging the depths of separation with Radha Bhav, Radha Bhava Duti Subalita. So when the guards of the Jagannath temple find the fainted Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're getting ready to drag him out of the temple. They think this is some sentimental devotee who's fainted before the deities. Such things happen, are going on in India. Rupa Goswami warns us of those who are actors, who can act emotions, and those who are just sentimental by nature. So they're getting ready to drag him out of the temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? Avatar Sar Gaura Avatar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? They're going to drag him out of the temple. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya come in. No. And he's the Pandit of Prataparudra Maharaj, who's the king in that Orissa, Puri. Right? Puri, it's not under the rule of invaders. Bengal was, like we hear about the Qazi, but Puri not so at this time. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is the court Pandit of King Prataparudra Maharaj. So he's the most respectable, knowledgeable person there is. So if Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya waves them off, then they're retreating. And he, with his shastric depth, remember Brihaspati, the guru of the Devatas, he's appearing in Gaura Lila, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He has heard of Asta Sattvika Vikar, but never observed this personally, and he believes that is what he's seeing before him in the test. We're told he takes a cotton swab. There's Mahaprabhu lying in a death-like trance, and he puts the cotton swab to his nose, and there's a little flicker of those fine hairs, and he's like, oh, some breath, some trace of a breath still coming. And he thinks, this is astonishing, that this can appear. He must be a Mahapurush, a Siddha Purush, divine personality. And arranges for him to be taken to his place nearby, and where his brother-in-law Gopinath Acharya is, and other devotees come, Nityananda and others. Remember, they weren't far behind. They're coming, and he's lying in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house in this death-like trance for many hours. And while in that state, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Gopinath Acharya start having some discussion about who he is. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, it's funny, in an indirect way, he's not wrong. He thinks he's a devotee. Like Mahapurush, of the highest order. And Gopinath Acharya is saying, my dear brother, you're Vasudev Sarvabhauma, you know more than anyone. You know everything, in fact, except one thing, that who is lying before you is the original, supreme personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan himself. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you know the scriptures, I know the scriptures. There is no lila avatar in this the Kali Yuga, it's called Tree Yuga, he starts quoting some verses. And Gopinath Acharya, he's also, they're quoting the thing. Suvarna Varna He Mango Barandas Chandanagadi Sanyasakrit Tamat Santo Nishta Shanti Parayana. Mahabharata, this encrypted sloka there, telling of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and others. But they're going back and forth. He's saying, yes, no, Lila avatar, but Yuga avatar. Chanak Kalop, and the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj and the Bhagavatam, and the Kali Yuga, in a hidden way, it will come. And we say, why hidden? You know, Radha Bhava Duty Subalita. He's enveloped by the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani. Right? And not appearing as the Lord, but rather as the devotee. Right? So, Prahlad Bhagavatam, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagye Sankirtana Pre Yajanti Sumedasa. Those who Sumedasa, or is it a refined theistic intellect, they will recognize who is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Krishna Varna, he's in the same category, he's Krishna, but, or what? Krishna, Krishna, always coming from his mouth. Like in Charitamritam, Krishna, 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 hey. And Guru Maharaj's Prema Dhamma Stotram, Krishna, 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 Nama, Kirtanam. Always going, Krishna, 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 Krishna. Because Radharani likes to chant the name of Krishna. She's addicted to Krishna Nam. Right? And Guru Maharaj will tell him, and if we say, you know, Sevan Mukhe Hijavaro, the qualification for spiritual substance is the current of seva. Seva, current, voltage. And say, what is the voltage of the Krishna Nam of Srimati Radharani? Right? Unthinkable. So, after their back and forth on, you know, you quote your slokas, I'll quote mine, Gopinath Acharya says, but he quotes Brahma's stuti, Atapite deva padambuja dvaya prasada leshano grihita evahi. So, prasada lesh means a little prasad, a little mercy you have to grasp this, for this to touch your heart. It is not jnane prayasamudapasana eva, same Brahma thing. Not an intellectual exercise, mental prowess, shastric mastery, punditry, scholarship, as we heard the other day from the poet, the singer Nayanananda. He's saying, you may know, you know, be a Sanskrit, you know all the scriptures, everything, but if you don't know that Gauranga is the essence of everything, then you've wasted your time and your energy and your mind and your intellect. I'm saying, and on the conversely, if you know nothing about nothing, but you know that Gauranga is everything, then you got it. You put it very simply. That's the criterion. Amar Gauranga, you know. So he said, Prasada leshana grihita evahi. You have to have some mercy. When Srila Guru Maharaj was a young student, and he had this one teacher, an elderly gentleman who was like, in the Sat Darshan, I mean the 6 philosophical systems of India, he was certified in each one. He had a man of vast learning and very respectable. And Guru Maharaj looked up to him at the time as a teacher. But Guru Maharaj said very innocently, sweetly, and naively to him, he said, like a sudden, he said, with all your vast learning, he said, why don't you turn that in the direction of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Right? And he said, that man said, oh my boy, it is not a question of learning. He said, you have to have some mercy to grasp the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Same thing that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, Gopinath Acharya telling Sarvabhauma, and Sarvabhauma a little offended, like, oh, like you've got the mercy and I and I not, you know, like children. What you know, what's the evidence that you know? He said, that I know lying before us is Swayam Bhagavan, Avatar Sar, Gaura-Gadadhar, the personality of Godhead, and you don't. That's the evidence. So, but still, Sarvabhauma, he's avuncular, paternal, and he's saying, oh, he's so beautiful. After Mahaprabhu awakens from his ecstatic trance and saying, such a beautiful young boy taking sannyas, you know, at 24 years of age. For him to maintain that and have a solid basis, I should teach him Vedanta. And I can also upgrade his sannyasa because it appears that he got initiated in an inferior sampradaya. Right. So very mercifully, he's instructing Mahaprabhu, and it's going on day after day. And when devotees were upset at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya because of this, Mahaprabhu said, no, he loves me, and it's all affection. It's just from his affectionate heart that he's doing these things. Anyway, day after day, he's instructing Mahaprabhu in Vedanta, but Mahaprabhu is not nodding or giving any indication. And Sarvabhauma was saying, you know, could you at least like nod, or you can ask some questions? I know this is very deep and maybe difficult to understand. And at that point, Mahaprabhu says, oh no, I understand Vedanta. What are you talking about? And Sarvabhauma like, oh, the 24-year-old boy now like, and so, and then he's thinking, oh, Guru Maharaj said, to regain his prestige. The 24-year-old sannyasi just said, I understand Vedanta, I just don't know what you're saying. Right. Then he thought, all right, how about this? Atmarama slok, 9 levels of interpretation. Mahaprabhu, that is wonderful. Then he gives 18 levels of explanation, not touching upon the 9 given by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Then Sarvabhauma says, he does know Vedanta. He knows infinitely more about Vedanta than I'll ever know. Why? Vedanta vid, Veda krid, eva chaham. And the Bhagavad Gita, he said, I wrote it, I am it, I made it manifest, whatever you want to know about it, it's me. Right? Vedanta vid, Veda krit, eva chaham. Sarvasya, and what is it, the rest of it? No. Anyway. Saying in the Bhagavad Gita that. Right? So, then gradually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is undergoing some transformation. and realizing that actually Mahaprabhu is upgrading him. He's upgrading Brihaspati from being the guru of the Devatas to becoming a humble servitor of the Vaishnavas and an eternal associate at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're told there by Kaviraj Goswami, he reveals his Ishwar Murti, his divinity to him, with the Shad-bhuj Murti, Hare Krishna, showing that who was Rama and Ram Lila, Krishna and Krishna Lila, he's now appeared before you as Gauranga and Gaur Lila. Okay. And that's Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, having been Jai, Shad-bhuj Murti Ki Jai. So this was great for the propaganda of Mahaprabhu and his followers, that the court pundit of the king of Prataparudra has been converted into a follower of Mahaprabhu. And he wrote Sarvabhauma Shataka, 100 verses in praise of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Vairagya Vidyanagar Bhakti Yoga, sloka, and others. And so when people would ask, they'd say, have you seen these 100 verses from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya about Mahaprabhu? And later we're told when at the annual Rath Yatra festival, when Shivananda Sen brings the 200 Mahabhagavatas from Bengal for the Rath Yatra and to get the association of Mahaprabhu and his divine associates in Jagannath Puri, that Gopinath Acharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Prataparudra, they're on the rooftop and seeing them coming, Mahaprabhu sending garlands to Advaita Nityananda, and Sarvabhauma, but he's very eager to understand who are all these great, effulgent, divine personalities who are being received so respectfully. And at one point, Prataparudra Maharaj also, he turns and says, it's so obvious and overwhelming. How is it that some people cannot understand the divinity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya pipes up and says, Atapite deva padambuja dvaya prashadale shanugrihita evahi. You have to have a little bit of mercy. He gives his own history and experience as an example. And it was that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya who sent Mahaprabhu to meet with Ramananda Roy on the Godavari River in, where is that place? Maharaj was there.
Kovur.
Kovur. Yeah, Kovur. And he's there throughout the pastimes of Mahaprabhu in very beautiful varieties of way, including the water sports. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, also known as Narayani Nandan, they like to be and glorifying them. If we were like Sachinandan, Nandanandan, Devaki Nandan, Yashoda Nandan. Okay. So Narayani Nandan means the son of Narayani, that little girl, the niece of Srivas Thakur, whom Mahaprabhu told, cry Krishna Nam with the Krishna Prem in your heart, that she did as a little girl, and she got the prasad from Mahaprabhu. And later when she grew up, she became the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur, the Vyas of Chaitanya Lila. And Kaviraj Goswami, he's the biggest promoter of the Chaitanya Bhagavata in his Chaitanya Charitamritam. He's always praising the Chaitanya Bhagavata and Vrindavan Das Thakur. And very fervently, and he says, he uses the word mudha. He's saying, all you mudha, read the Chaitanya Mangal of Vrindavan Das Thakur. There's where you'll find Chaitanya Mahima, the glories of Mahaprabhu. Other places as my dear readers, but in this one particular sloka, that means he really wants you to read the Chaitanya Bhagavata. And that's what we get from that. He's imploring us to do that. You don't realize what you're missing if you read this. And it is so wonderful and extraordinary. And I remember first reading it, and the beginning of the book, as I'm reading, I'm thinking, I said, this is all about the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. Then later, hearing from Guru, I was like, oh, you know, Nitai Koruna Have Braje Radha Krishna. You need the grace of Nityananda Prabhu for the strong foundation upon which you can say Gaur Lila can be established. Right? So much, and he's the last principal follower of Nityananda Prabhu, and pitifully lamenting that he didn't appear earlier. He came after Mahaprabhu and that final time and had the connection of Nityananda, but he wasn't there, and just think, he's the biographer and he's not there. So, the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, by the grace of Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu, this has all come to him, just as Sanjaya says in the Bhagavad Gita, he's not on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, right? But it's all coming through him. And what is so substantial, and it's all so substantial that no one challenges the method of transmission. The substance, the spiritual substance is so overwhelming that the method of transmission is irrelevant. Okay. And what does he say at the end? Vyasa prasadat shrutavan. By the mercy of Veda Vyas, I heard this divine conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, Chaitanya Nitai, by their grace, all of this has come to him. And his devotion and faith in Nityananda Prabhu is extreme. And so much so that he's employing his readers at various times throughout to get the mercy of the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. He will give you Gauranga. Right? But he takes it a step further and saying, and if you don't, after all this, I'm imploring you in so many varieties of ways and making the case for the grace of the Kripa avatar, Nityananda Prabhu. And after all of this, you're unwilling, for whatever reason, not to do that. He's saying, then I want to kick you in the head. Right? And so Guru Maharaj said, there are some sahajiyas, they say, oh, he doesn't possess the same humility of Kaviraj Goswami. So jagai madhai hoite muise papishta purishe rakita hoite. I'm more sinful than Jagai and Madhai, lower than the, so humble is coming. And Vrindavan is saying, if you don't accept the grace, I'm going to kick your head. Sometimes Guru Maharaj said, I'm going to kick you in the head with my left foot. Like that's extra insulting. And so they make this case that he's, they're trying to draw some comparative, like saying he's somehow lacking in humility on account of saying these things. And when that was brought to the attention of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, oh no, you don't understand. He said, in this way, if you don't get the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, you're hopeless. And for those who are somehow avoiding or not appreciating, for them, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he's so merciful. He's with that left foot of his going to their hand, he's opened a new channel for that grace. And of course, Guru Maharaj will explain and he says, just as when sometimes a child, we know little children, somehow, sometimes they go and kick somebody. Right? And then they run back and hide behind their mother's skirt or something, And then what happens is that the parents have to compensate for the parent misbehavior of the child and offer themselves to that person as compensation. Right? So Guru Maharaj said, that is what, that channel, that new channel of grace, mercy opened by the left foot of Vrindavan Das Thakur, saying, then Gaur and Nityananda have to come and to compensate for that, they have to offer themselves to that person. So Saraswati Thakur, he's so merciful that he's opened this new channel for divine grace and mercy. So, and in his Chaytanya Bhagavata, he has elaborate description of the sannyas of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and which is the basis of that, the base of what is found in the golden volcano of divine love, a tragedy of separation. That section is Srila Guru Maharaj liberally taking from Chaitanya Bhagavata and expressing that, and many other things. Guru Maharaj is taking from there, and his own original thinking. But, and we find the emphasis on the Adi Lila, the early pastimes of Nimai Pandit. Up to and culminating in his sannyas at the end of the Madhya Lila, going into Antya Lila. And Vrindavan Das Thakur will say the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're unlimited, they're infinite. In fact, the more Vyas will come in the future to describe more. So Srila Gurudev, he's written some poetry where he describes Kaviraj Goswami as the Chana Vyas. If Vrindavan Das is the Vyas of Chaitanya Lila, then Chana Vyas, that because Vrindavan Das Thakur himself is saying they're unlimited, the pastimes. I'm according to my capacity, trying to act as a medium for expression. And he said, it's like a bird flying in infinite sky. But so many wonderful, astonishing things are given there. He tells of, remember, Nimai, Krishna has appeared as Nimai Pandit, and he's gradually, there's a narrative arc and trajectory. He's becoming a devotee and going towards the full expression of Radha Bhav, of the supreme devotee, Srimati Radharani. But in the earlier pastimes, sometimes he's showing his divinity, or some divine mood comes upon him. So, because Murari Gupta is Hanuman in Ram Lila, he's and also biographer of Mahaprabhu, but he's very favorite to Nimai Pandit. We're talking one day Nimai Pandit. We were talking about Varaha Dev and Koladweep yesterday. One day Nimai Pandit comes to his house and like knocks on it. He opens the door and there's the Varaha avatar. Imagine the Varaha avatar on your doorstep. And Murari Gupta is astonished, and he enters into the room. And those who've been to Bengal have seen, they have these big round water pots, clay, earthen water pots. That's how everybody would keep water in their house, in a big round clay water pot. It's in the corner. So as Varaha, he goes, and it's like the earth in the nether regions, and he lifts it up and rescues the earth with his tusks. What do we hear in Bhagavad Gita? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya duskritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami juge juge. Why he appears. So here he is, yada yada hi dharma, he's putting the earth in its rightful position, restoring it. So seeing this astonishing manifestation, Murari Gupta is there, trembling and Varaha, Nimai Pandit as Varaha name says, Murari, offer some prayers. Where are your manners? Offer some prayers. And so Murari Gupta, what is he saying? Ananta Shesh, with his thousands of divine serpentine heads, has been singing your glories since before the beginning of the creation, infinitely, eternally, and he has not exhausted your supreme glories. Actually, only you can glorify yourself. Only you can adequately glorify yourself. And as Ananta, your expansion, with his thousands of tongues vibrating your glories since before the beginning of time, he's not reached the end of your glories. So what can a fallen soul like myself say that would be appropriate to glorify you? And that is his prayer. The prayer that I cannot properly pray, I cannot properly offer praise. That is a prayer, a perfect prayer, and very beautifully expressed there. And we're also told that on another day, it's mentioned as Devi Bhav in the Charitamritam, but Mahaprabhu tells the devotees that he would like to have a play at the house of Chandrasekhar, complete with costumes and a stage and everything, and he's going to play the part of Shakti, or his potency, the feminine aspect. Right? Rukmini, Lakshmi, Radharani, Durga, Maka, all Adya Shakti, all goddesses, the supreme goddess of fortune, and everything. From here to there, everything in between. And the devotees are all very excited. I mean, just see the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. They, like, let's have a play. Like, he plays, but here he wants to have a dramatic performance. Complete with costumes, actors, actresses, stage, everything. Right? And the audience, and so, and at the house of Chandrasekhar, and so devotees go to get the costumes. And he says, but one qualification for the audience, because Srivas Thakur is excited, Advaita Acharya is excited, Chandrasekhar Acharya, everyone, all the devotees are so excited about it. And he said, but one thing about the audience, all right, so we know who's going to be in the play. Haridas Thakur will be there, Nityananda, so many others. But the audience, there's some qualifications to be in the audience. And the qualification is, Achirin Dhira, their Jitendriya, their senses must be completely under control. All right, so let's have the, and then Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur, they're going like, oh. They're so disappointed, they're heartbroken. And Nehemiah, what's wrong? And they're saying, well, you said that to be in the audience, you have to have your senses, then I won't be able to be there. I was so much looking forward to, I won't. And as Srila Guru Maharaj says, in consideration of Srila Rupa Goswami's sequence from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ado Shraddha, Taru Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Ruchi, Ashakti, etc., Nishta, Ruchi, Ashakti. Talking about this sequence, Anartha Nivritti, being free from misconception or impurities. He said, a genuine, pure devotee will never think that they've achieved that stage, what to speak of anything higher. So here we have Narada, Srivas Thakur, otherwise Narada, considers himself unqualified. Right? Advaita Acharya, right? Mahavishnu Avatar, Sadashiva, Advaita Acharya, considers himself unqualified. Right? But we can find so many aspiring, newly recruited servitor aspirants and who consider themselves very qualified to voyeuristically, enter into the higher section of the. But Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, they don't consider themselves fit. Okay. Devotion is always measured in the inverse. Okay. So they're despondent. And Mahaprabhu says, if the two of you can't attend the performance, then who can be there? Still they're holding out that they're unqualified. He said, all right, then, all right, I have an idea, a suggestion. I grant you, I'm going to give you a special benediction that for the duration of the performance, your senses will be controlled. I'm guaranteeing that. Then they're like, yeah. Then they're happy. They still don't think that they're qualified. See? It's not like, oh, we're qualified. No. Guru Maharaj will say, you should never think that. The devotees live eternally with the uncertainty principle. They're never certain of their devotion. Srimati Radharani says, I'm so ashamed. I have this reputation as being the supreme devotee of Krishna, and if people only knew the truth, that in consideration of how wonderful and beautiful and loving, affectionate Krishna is, that I couldn't give myself to him fully. Na prema gandhasti darapi meharo. I don't have a scent of the fragrance of Krishna prem. What to speak of a drop of that divine substance? That comes from her. That is her statement as mirrored in the heart of Mahaprabhu and expressed from his lotus lips. Guru Maharaj says, if you think that you're a devotee, you're finished. That's what he says. He doesn't say, oh, it's unhealthy or not really the right. He said, if you think that you've achieved this, you're finished. That's what our Guru Maharaj says. And we're his aspiring servitors under the guidance of Srila Gurudev. Hare Krishna. So then now happily, they're going to have the performance. Haridas Thakur comes out and he's like a Vaikuntha policeman. And he has a big handlebar mustache and he's and there's the audience and he's saying, all right, everybody, wake up and understand the opportunity that is before you now. And he's saying, and, Narada comes, I just came from Vaikuntha and it's empty. Right, because they're all, sometimes Gaura-Narayan. But he's telling, like, Uttishta, this is like the Vedas on steroids. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Bharan Nibodhata. Wake up and understand the opportunity that is before you. It's Veda, but being expressed in Gaura-lila in an inconceivably wonderful way. So, and Sachi Mata is in the audience. She's sitting next to Malini Devi. Malini Srivasa Jaya Chandrasekhara Acharya. And seeing Srivas Thakur is playing Narada. And, footnote is that Srivas Thakur is Narada. Right? So he's playing, and Sachimata is saying, is that your husband? He's such a good Narada. And she's just meditating on Narada and his Krishna Katha and his glories. And Sachimata becomes ecstatic and faints, and all the devotees have to revive her. But she said, is that Pandit? Yes, that is Pandit, Srivas Pandit. And so many things are recorded there. But when Mahaprabhu comes out finally as Rukmini and appearing as Rukmini, everyone, the devotees are astonished to the point of fainting. They can't believe it. How beautiful and heartbreakingly charming she is, he is, and she's sitting on the ground and writing her famous invitation to Krishna to kidnap her. And we're told that the tears streaming from her lotus eyes come down to her finger. They're the ink for the pen of her finger. And she's running. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara srinvatam te nirvisha karna vivarai haratonga tapam rupam dusham dushimatam akilarta labam tvayachyuta vishachi chitram apatrapam me. And she's saying, Krishna, when I heard about you, then I understood why we have auditory sense, why we're endowed with hearing. That is the purpose of hearing, is to hear about you. Right? Nama, rupa, guna, lila. From sound, the form appears. So she heard about Krishna, and then she saw Krishna through hearing. Right? Hearing about Krishna is seeing Krishna. And she's saying, Haratonga Tava, and that removed all my suffering. That's amazing. Just by hearing about you, it was over. Rupam dusham dushimatam akilarta labam. And through that hearing, I saw your divine form, and then I realized why I have eyes. Now I understand what sight is all about. And I realized, in seeing you, akilarta labam, I got everything. Yam labha chaparam labha manyate nadikam tataha. It's mentioned in the Gita. When you come in connection with Krishna, you've got everything. And every last person who's come in connection with the Krishna consciousness movement knows this and feels this. Rupam dusham dushimatam akilarta labam tvayachyuta chitram apatrapam me. So she said, so I'm shamelessly begging you to kidnap me. I am inescapably surrounded by karmic circumstances of my own doing, and I'm shamelessly pleading with you. Please come and kidnap me and rescue me from this. And there's so many other wonderful things there, and this play goes on all night. And I'll just conclude with this. I mean, it's inconceivable. What can I say? It's there. But as the night, the devotees, that this night will end, will bring unbearable sorrow to their hearts. That this performance will end, this night will end. And he's showing for Rukmini, but some are saying, but I'm seeing Radharani. No, Lakshmi Devi, Mahalakshmi, Durga Devi? Do I hear Ma Kali wildly? Every divine Shakti, but we know on the way to the supreme goddess of fortune. But when the sun comes up and the devotees are like, oh no, it's ending. And they're like children crying and disappointed. And I'm just telling you, it's there. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. This is Bhagavad Gita like you've never heard it before. Pitaham asya jagato mata data pitamaha. He says, I'm the grandfather. I'm just, but what does he say? Mata, I'm the mother. What does Krishna say? I'm the mother. Sometimes I'm mother. Pita data pita maha. Mata. So out of his immense affection for the devotees, they all come up and sit on the lap of Mahaprabhu, and they suck his breast milk like babies from their mother. That's described by Vrindavan Das Thakur in the Chaytanya Bhagavata. And afterwards we're told the effulgence in the aftermath, the Brahman-like effulgence of that, where this took place, was there for days, weeks, and people, they couldn't look at the house. It was blinding them. And they thought, what's going on in the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya? Can't even look, it's so bright, you can't even... That is in the aftermath of these divine pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then we can understand why Kaviraj Goswami is saying, you want to understand Chaitanya Mahima, the glories of Mahaprabhu, read Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata, Vrindavan Das Thakur. And what greater recommendation could you get than from the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam? Hare Krishna. O Madhusudan Maharaj.
At your service, Maharaj. At your service. So Maharaj, we also don't want the parikramas to end. We want these to go on forever. And Maharaj, I can take this opportunity to extend the appreciation of so many devotees who are on the parikrama, have been with us these last few days, and in other communication, they're expressing really their heartfelt appreciation for this opportunity to come together and to hear the Harikatha. And truly, we don't want the parikramas to stop, but the good side of it is, of course, it's going to culminate in Mahaprabhu's appearance tomorrow. So wonderful things and more wonderful things day by day. So Maharaj, here at this place of at Mamgachi, the place of appearance of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, then from here the devotees, we bring the lunch prasadam, and then after the lunch prasadam, then returning to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, and then preparing for tomorrow. Most devotees will come, help with decorations and do so many things, but it's the end of the parikramas, the end of the build-up to Gaura Purnima, and preparing for tomorrow the appearance. So this is the conclusion we can consider today, unless any other matter you'd like to add, Maharaj.
No, I think you expressed that very beautifully, and we do want to express our appreciation to all the parikramis on the Nabadwip Dham online, Parikrama, that we do feel in this mystical way that we're participating and visiting all those divine places, and we're happy to do so with you leading our Parikrama party, and we're following along the way happily. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I also reflect that and extend that, echo that, the appreciation to all the devotees. So many devotees with us, maybe 100 like this, including those who are watching, sharing the connections. And it's really a glorious parikrama. And we are always sitting by Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, and we consider that, considering time, place, and circumstance now, they will be very pleased by the gathering and the parikramas and the programs for Gaura Purnima this year.
Yes, and I'll just say that you reminded me of Srila Guru Maharaj once saying that very happily, I just say, we want to get the grace of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and also Srila Prabhupada, and he said at the end of one of his talks, and he was very happy and felt that he had substantially represented the line of Saraswati Thakur, and he said, perhaps our Guru Maharaj and your Guru Maharaj are looking down upon this transaction very happily and giving their grace and their approval. Hare Krishna. So invoking that sort of blessing upon this transaction, divine movement. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Guru Maharaj ki Jai and Jai Shri Guru Dev ki Jai. So
Jai.
Maharaj, I think your team of devotees should bring us back to the mat with some Harinam Sankirtan.
Hari
Mahaprabhu's great gift.
Sri Nabadwip Dham Parikrama ki jai, Sri Nabadwip Dham Mahatmyam ki jai, Sri Nabadwip Dham Bhavataranga ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Acharya Sateras of the Sri Srimad Sri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Sri Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Thakur Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Sri Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Jiu ki jai. Sri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Sri Rupa Anuga Guru Varga ki jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nanda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Go Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Nabadwip Dham ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Sri Gupta Govardhan ki jai. Sri Vila Govinda ki jai. Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi ki jai. Narayani Nandan ki jai. Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Om Vishnupad Vishvavarenya Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Brinda ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Nabadwip Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai. Sannyasi Brinda ki jai. Seva Brinda ki jai. Sri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi ki jai. Samaveda Bhakti Brinda ki jai. Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Completion
Jai.
of Sri Nabadwip Dham Parikrama ki jai. Adivas of Sri Gaura Purnima ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Sri Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Maninder Mohan Prabhu and all the Vila Govinda Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. The Tonks Bhakti Vrinda Dandavat. Anandamoyi in Portugal, Dandavat. Remember the Tonks ashram, they're in Siberia. Hare Krishna. Balavanta Prabhu, Ekadashi, Subhada, etc. Ramanuja Das and Ishwari Devi, Dandavat. Tunga Devi Dasi and Toms, Dandavat. Shama Priya Didi and Kharkov, Ukraine, Dandavat, or Kharkiv, Ukraine, Dandavat. Sri Hari Prabhu, Dandavat in Brazil. Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu in Vrindavan, Dandavat. And Krishna Priya Didi and Madhavi, Dandavat. And you see, the deities couldn't wait. So they put their new outfits on today from Krishna Priya, Dandavat, and Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Bhanavi Didi and Rama, Dandavat. Prafula Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Parama Bhakti Didi in Brazil, Dandavat. And Hare Krishna, Kalindi Priya's mom and Rivda Devi Dasi and Nizhny Novgorod, Dandavat. Janvi Devi and Sandeep Krishna Prabhu, Maheshwari Didi, and New Sukartal, or Greater Sukartal. Nalina Nayana and Ram Sundar Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Supriya Didi, and they're in China. Supriya Didi is also in China, Dandavat. Indumukhi and Mitravinda Devi Dasi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Where do we go? Jai Sri Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj, Yashodanandan Prabhu, and Abhazia, Dandavat. Malini Didi in Orsk in Russia, Dandavat. Gaura-Gadadhar Prabhu in Brazil, Dandavat. Paramananda, Dandavat. Divya Shakti Didi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Rasamoyi Pandita, Dandavat. Gaurachandra Prabhu in Nadhotka in Russia, Dandavat. Jamuna's mother Elena in Moscow, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Lila Shakti Didi in Brazil, Dandavat. Lakshmana Didi in St. Petersburg and her assistant. Hare Krishna. Paramananda Prabhu in Japan, Dandavat. Vrindavan Chandradas, Dandavat. Subhashini Didi in Ireland, Dandavat. Pavel Brun in Moscow, Dandavat. Sri Leka Didi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Lila Sundar Prabhu and Ukraine, I imagine, Dandavat. Where do you go? Anjali Didi, Dandavat. Rasananda Prabhu in Sochi, Dandavat. Udaran Prabhu, Dandavat. Krishna Kanta Prabhu, Dandavat. Ajita Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Madhavi Lata in Odessa, Dandavat. Nadia Priya in Ukraine, Dandavat. Jai Sri Bhakti Ashray Dande Maharaj, Dandavat. Lakshmana Didi in St. Petersburg, Dandavat. Sudha Krishna Prabhu in Los Angeles, Dandavat. Praneshri Didi doing the Spanish translation, Dandavat. Shanti Moyi in Italy, Dandavat. Sulakshana doing the Chinese translation here. Nityananda Das doing the Russian translation. Nanda Rakshita Das, Dandavat. Is there anyone else? Pavan Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Chandrakanti Didi in China, Dandavat. Tungarasa Didi, Dandavat. Indulekha Didi, Dandavat. Ananda Lila Didi, Dandavat. Lilavati Priya, Dandavat. Jagan Mata and Tonks, Dandavat. Kum Didi, Dandavat. Kamala Didi, Dandavat. Oh, really? Krishna Kanta Didi? And all right. Dandavat, all right. All right. Vanchakalpa Triyubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.